find what you're looking for. He says, but he goes, my people are going to look out for you, and we're going to make sure that you arrive on time, you arrive safely. So I took what he said seriously, because how in the world, he knew I was coming. How in the world, why would he even share some of these things with me on the oral history of his people? I mean, we talked about Bigfoot, we talked about a number of other things, and he gave me validation even on Bigfoot, which was interesting because that's something that I never really looked into. I mean, I heard of Bigfoot. I don't know that it exists, but he made sure that I understood that not only does Bigfoot exist, he gave me an interesting story to tell me that he's seen one, and his friends have one right near the Olympia forest that comes and would steal salmon out of a smoker. So what his friend did was modify the smoker and put the plexiglass door higher up, so that way when Bigfoot would come, he could reach in only after he could see that the salmon was cooked and take it, rather than before when it was lower, just take it before it was done. So it was interesting that the fella, even Native American, even modified the smoker for Bigfoot.
Nice.
And once I was, and I'll share something. We go on the limb here. I'm praying ceremoniously in the sweat lodge while I was up there in your state in Washington, and in the ceremonial sweats, it's like 7 rounds that we were going through, but about third or fourth round is when you get to the nitty gritty and things start to get discussed, and a lot of things that the white man won't hear. And one of the things they were praying for was for Bigfoot, that he would be safe and stay out of harm's way and not be hurt from people trying to take him as a prize. So I mean, with my own ears, I was able to hear this. So it made me realize that what, here I am in ceremony for this to come out. There's got to be some truth to it.
Yeah, I think that the Bigfoot legends throughout the world, that kind of lends credence in my book. It kind of adds to the evidence of the Hollow Earth. Why else would nothing be found on the surface? So I think they're a subterranean or an inner Earth creature, personally.
Well, I agree 100% with you. And I'll share a story that I shared with Ramon only after. I'm going to just tell you guys that James Gilliland wants to say hello to both of you. He says I should say hello to both of you and say hello to you two crazy guys.
That would be us.
So I will pass it on, but I'll do it in a lovingly fashion. But being I mentioned his name, I'm going to share a story. And this happened right after I came up to Olympia, Washington. I went down to his ranch, and his ranch is in Trout Lake, Washington. And I was going to stay at his ranch for 3 days. And so this is August now of 2008. And while on his ranch, the first night, about 30 people assembled out in the field there. And if people don't know, that his East City Ranch is known to have UFO activity above his ranch, which is in close proximity to Mount Adams, another large mountain range in Washington. So we're out, 30 of us, and we're looking up at the night sky, and we're able to see some UFOs that night. We're out about 2 hours. It was 8 till about 10, and around 10 o'clock it started to rain very hard. So everybody scattered, and I had a tent, and my girlfriend had a tent right out in the open field, and we went to bed, and sleeping about 4 hours, and all of a sudden I see a figure over my tent. It must have been about 8 or 9 feet tall. I see the shadow, this ominous presence above my tent, and I had the little zipper pocket in the front of the tent. I quickly zipped it open to see what was looming outside of my tent. I thought it might be a bear or what could it be, but it looked human the way it was, just posturing over my tent. By the time I opened the zipper, I couldn't see it in the darkness. So I got out my shoes, I got my flashlight, And as I came out of the tent, I heard the dogs barking on the property. I heard about 20 people just all yelling, like, commotion, like something had happened. So went out investigating from 2 o'clock in the morning, and I stayed up about 5:30. So me and this fellow, we were sitting out in the field there, just looking like, what could that have been? And he was saying, it's the tall ones, they were here. And I was like, well, I don't know what it was. I just saw the shadow. So about 5:30, my friend came over to where we were sitting, and then she said that when I left the tent, she thought I went out to relieve myself. And when she looked out into the open field, there was a figure there. But after studying it, it was about 8 feet tall. And the figure looked back, and she looked out, and she was realized, that's not Stephen. And she realized that here it was, this tall, ominous presence staring back at her. And they had this stare down for about 15 minutes. And the whole time she said, like, she just kept sending it love, saying, please don't hurt me, whatever. And said she was just like almost like hypnotized by what she was viewing. So when I saw her at 5:30 in the morning, she relayed, the story. And I says, well, I saw it. Other people are telling me they know what it was. And so when about 8:30 in the morning rolled around, I ran into James on the property. And I said, James, you're not going to believe what happened last night. He goes, yeah, I know. He goes, my sister saw it too. So, I, at least I had validation, that, it was something that was just, unbelievable. And I don't know how I would have reacted to it had I actually seen it, because it was 2 o'clock and I just opened the zipper. And, to have something staring at you like that, I mean, I could have had a heart attack. I don't know what happened, but I just know that, it wasn't of the world that I'm known to experience at the time. But I did get validation in the morning that, there are Lemurians and they're out there. And I guess,
I'll give you a quick story to validate yours. My first night there in 2009, I went for the conference, and from the corner of my eye, I kept seeing this tall being that was taller than everybody else. And I remember I mentioned it to James, and he says, "Oh yeah, they'll be in the crowd, but you can only see them if with your peripherals, or if your eyes are trained to see auras." Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, there's definitely something really tall up there, because you keep seeing somebody who's really tall, and then you look, and it's just the regular people, and then you're looking at the sky again, and.
Well, I was just up in Oregon, up in Ashland, probably this summer, and I was talking to someone relating a story like I am to you guys about J.C. Brown and Lemurians. And this person was clairvoyant, and they looked around outside of the tent where we were talking. She said there were 3 Lemurians that were standing out there, curious as to what I was saying, and nodding in agreement, like, yeah, I'm right. And I turned around. I didn't see them, but her and another woman who were listening, they both had seen them. And so they made themselves appear to them, but not to me. But they wanted to validate that I was on the right track.
Nice. Nice. So
since we
we're nearing the top of the our first hour here. We're going to do another hour with Stephen in our archives on the website. I want to give you a chance, Stephen, to talk about some of the projects that you got going on and some of the new stuff, and get out your website and et cetera, et cetera.
Well, the first thing I want to get out is that because I'm starting my interview process up here for 2011, I think it's important that I get out my Sindoni Says website. So it's Sindoni says says.webs.com. So sindonisays.webs.com. And on this site, I've got the ability for you to go on to Skype and talk to me directly. It's $9.99 for 10 minutes. You can buy blocks of time, and I'll answer any questions anybody wants, and I'll do it on Skype. But they can go to that site, and they can pay through PayPal, or they can use credit cards, because I want to get the word out to as many people as possible. And because of the things that I do, it's not hard. It's pretty hard for me to have a 9 to 5 based on the things I talk about. So this is the way I want to generate income, and part of the proceeds would go to a nonprofit organization. So that's sindonisays.webs.com. I also have another website. It's my name, Stephen Sindoni, with a P-H-E-N, sindoni.webs.com, both on webs.com. That also gives you interviews. You can hear, I believe I have interviews with George Norrie. You can hear a coast-to-coast interview. You can buy products and merchandise there. And there's also a YouTube site that you can go to at Sindoni Productions, where I have about 100 movies out that you can watch, different movies on different topics, a number of topics. So it's three places that you can go to. But the sindonisays.webs.com will be a place that people can go to if they want to schedule time with me to talk about any of the things, whether it be legends, mysteries, or conspiracies or more. I'm going to allow people to be able to get a hold of me in that way and clear up some of these things that have been, I guess, buried for a number of years.
So we'll have all those links on the BBS, on our page on BBS, and we'll have them linked in the on the Stephen page on our website in the archives.
Well,
Yeah, all you
awesome.
have to do is
really
click on his photo, and I'll take you right to his website. Oh, what were you saying, Stephen?
Well, I thank you guys for allowing that to happen, because, as I said, I mean, this information needs to come out, and I think it's time the masses get a wake-up call.
Yep. So we're going to continue this in our archive section, and we're going to go into some of the inner Earth stuff and talk about a lot of the stuff going on there, some of the legends and things going on. The evidence for our hollow Earth. So I hope everybody pops on over and joins us on the website to continue this great interview.
Yeah, and make sure, don't believe anything you hear. Do the research yourself. And if you research into a lot of the things we talk about on the show, you'll be amazed. Tom?
Condemnation without investigation is the height of ignorance. So,
and I always say, if you believe in 50% of what you hear and investigate the other 50%, and then discern the truth for yourself.
There we go. All right. Good night, everybody. We'll see you in the archives.
Cool.
Welcome to the archive section with the second half of this interview with Stephen Sindoni. So in this half, we want to get into some of the other things pertaining to the inner Earth and hollow Earth theories and some of the evidence surrounding it. First off, I think I'll relay a story that something that happened to me personally that'll kind of set this thing off. I astral project, and I haven't been able to get back to this same place yet. I've been processing quite a few other things here in the last few months, and my projections have seemed to shut down for a while. But anyways, about 6 months ago, maybe actually it was just before the July conference at the ECETI Ranch. I had projected. And I found myself in a town, and I don't know where this was, but tree-lined streets and wrought iron fences and beautiful, absolutely beautiful place. And I was floating down the street, about 3 feet off the ground, floating down the street, and I see this church off to the left, and I took a left, and I floated right up to the main entrance to the church. And I looked up to the top of the steeple, and as I looked up, I fell backwards, and I started sinking through the earth. And I had the sensation of moving. It was an amazing sensation. And I was in a dark area, a completely black area, and I knew I was traveling through the crust of the earth.